good.
All right. Welcome to From the Stands, PNW. We are a dirt track racing podcast. We specialize in tracks that, well, basically are in a backyard. Skagit Speedway, Deming Speedway. If you're not familiar with our podcast, I am the host, Jimmy. And with us behind the camera is Stacy. Say hello, Stacy.
Hey.
So, we are here. This is our Clay Cup National and our combined Clay Cup National hangover episode. And the reason I say that is this coming Friday, Deming will not be running due to the 360 and the Hornet Nationals at Skagit Speedway, which is the Fred Brownfield 360 Nationals, and then the whatever, I'm unfamiliar what even the Hornet class is, but the Hornet Nationals. And I'm going to put this out. I was corrected by two different people at Deming over the weekend about making sure I talk about that it's also the Hornet Nationals and not just the 360 Nationals.
They must feel like they are not getting the love.
Yeah. So, we're here. I don't know really what to say. It's been a whirlwind of 3 days. I think my body, it's interesting going from one end of the track to the other constantly. We had a bunch of interviews I thought was successful. But let's get into our cushion report now. So we talked about it a little bit. We were at Clay Cup Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have 3 interviews. This is part 1 of 3. We're going to do each night as a part for this episode number 8. And Stacy's playing Christmas music or whatever that was. So we're at Clay Cup Nationals. It was super, as the kids used to say, it was super cray-cray. And
It was crazy.
it was crazy. I have a lot to talk about. And it's going to be hard to not make episode 8 5 hours long. But we're back in studio. We're back in the comfortable environment, as you can see around us. We've kind of spruced up our podcasting area a little bit. I put my sprint cars out as a little bit of, as they would say, accoutrement. That's one of the what?
Did you pick up a new sprint car?
I did.
What did you get?
So when I purchased this Deming Speedway hat, home of the Clay Cup Nationals, on the back of it, I saw that there was this little box right on the counter of little sprint cars, and I thought, I'm going to pick up one of these because they look super cool, and I don't have a lot as far as sprint car decor that I can easily display while we're doing an episode, so I decided to purchase it. So that is a product of Clay Cup Nationals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
cushion report. Clay Cup in the books.
checked off. Done.
Checked off. Fred Brownfield 360 Nationals coming up. We will be there. I'm thinking we are pit passes for Friday and then sitting in our normal spots on Saturday. Correct? As a fan. Amongst the fans, because we are fans talking about dirt track racing. You can't be fans talking about dirt track racing and not be where the fans are.
That is true.
That would be ludicrous.
I don't have any interviews set in stone for Skagit on Friday.
Why does that not surprise me?
We spent so much energy prepping and getting Clay Cup going that it was like...
Yeah, it kind of fell by the wayside a little bit, I think, but that's okay.
We got a few days. We'll get something worked out.
I have some hopes.
Okay. There's
And
a
I
lot
know-
of drivers coming, so
And I know we don't really talk about this kind of stuff in the Cushion Report, but
Hopes and dreams?
I have a couple hopes.
okay.
For the 360 Nationals. I would love to get an interview with Justin Youngquist if he's going to be there. That would be great. My ultimate would be
The guy himself.
which
Trey.
Yeah, my ultimate would be, because I know Trey is going to run a 360 because he is the defending 360 champion at Skagit Speedway. Would love to be able to sit down and like talk to Trey Starks for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. And then there's another interview that I would love to have. However, we got kind of stiffed on it on night 3, which I'll get into when we get on night 3. But
Yeah, we're working on. I reached out this morning.
Anyway, so that is what is coming up. And then also, I know I made a mistake on the dates for the Monster Truck Show. I think I said in the last episode, I think I said it's August 7th and 8th, and I think it's August 8th and 9th.
Yes.
That is coming up still. We haven't gotten to that date yet. And, of course, Labor Day weekend, the High Limit show in August.
Yeah.
But also,
On August 1st.
my producer is putting through on my little machine here, because we've stepped up our technology over the last, I don't know if anybody at home can really see. I had a computer up for the Dave Key Classic episode because I was trying to get information on Dave Key on the fly. So, but now Stacy can actually communicate with me from one computer to the other while we're doing this. So I believe in transparency, so that's why the computer is open. And I got to get mine to quit going to sleep.
Oh, okay.
So maybe when we go to a commercial break, we can,
Change
the
settings.
producer can change my settings and make this thing stop going to sleep So if you keep seeing me do this on the keyboard, I'm hitting the space bar to wake it up. So
So August 1st down at Skagit.
it is Breast Cancer Awareness Night. They're calling it the Topless Race. I know Adam talked about it when we did the interview with him. The Topless Modifieds, which is awesome, to say the least. I am super looking forward to chopping the tops off the Modifieds and letting them run. See what that looks like. So, you know why it's exciting? The Topless Modified race?
Because you get to see what the drivers are doing.
Yeah, you get to see how hard they're actually working in that car. Because if you listen to Adam in his interview that we had, the hardest thing to do is drive that damn car. And the motivation obviously is to win, but for him he's done like everything in his racing career, he's done well, right? His stint in NASCAR, he did well with the jobs that he had. He won a championship in a Hornet, right? Mm-hmm. But he can't dominate or master the art of a modified. And that is the ultimate bear to wrestle right now for him, I think.
That's a challenge.
That and the late model stuff, but we'll get into that because that's a whole nother episode.
Yes.
But yeah, so Topless Night, August 1st.
Yep.
Breast Cancer Awareness. Shout out to Skagit Speedway for putting it on. I know that, from research, the Topless race has been kind of tough one to get arranged, and so kudos to them for getting that done. So
Yeah. And so we get a week off from Deming to focus on 360. We'll be back at Deming for our standard Friday night race.
Yep.
And then down to the breast cancer at Skagit. Sometime in there, in the next few weeks, we'll get the quarter midgets
Yep.
in and go from there. So
Yeah.
we have one thank you before we kind of end our cushion report.
And that's a shout out to National Safety Inc. They're in Bellingham, located on the Guide Meridian. They hooked us up with some equipment for Clay Cup. and I want to give a shout out to thank them for their contribution to the podcast. So wherever you're at, if you need anything from high-vis vests to any construction, safety equipment, please take a look at their website, take a look at their business. It is National Safety Inc. in Bellingham off the Guide Meridian. And I think that pretty much rounds out the Cushion Report.
The Cushion Report.
All right.
So we are going to kind of get into all of our interviews in amongst night one information of Clay Cup.
And our first interview for this episode is
number 21J, Clayton.
the man himself. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about Clayton and some of the other stuff happening on night one of Dirt Cup. I did this during an interview as well. Clay Cup, right after this. Are we rolling live? All right. So we are at the pit stall of Clayton. Actually, I'm just going to let him introduce himself. So we're here with
Clayton Jalakis. I drive the 21J 600 Open at Deming Speedway.
So it's a little kind of strange. This is the first. You're my first weather interview. Like I've never had. It's kind of a little soggy out. So I'm going to ask this right off the bat. How does this change your racing strategy for tonight?
Well, I still hope we get it in. I don't know if we will, but the track will be way more tacked up throughout the night, and it won't go as slick as fast as it usually does.
Okay, so we started talking about your racing. You started
at 4.5 in the quarter midgets at WQMA in Monroe.
And that's asphalt.
That's asphalt quarter.
When did you start racing in like dirt track?
I started racing Deming when I was probably like around COVID time, so.
Oh, okay.
6 years ago.
It's still a pretty decent amount of race. So, do you have a favorite track?
My favorite track is probably the Tulsa Shootout.
Oh, so you raced out there.
Yeah.
What do you like about that track?
I just like the competition and how the best of the best is there.
So, and people don't realize you won this. So, if we're at the beginning night of the Clay Cup Nationals, 43rd annual, right? And you won this in 2024. What is it like to win? This is the premier crown jewel on the West Coast. What is it like to win that race?
It was awesome.
I
still don't think it's set in yet. It just makes you more hungry to come back and get another one.
Sure. So obviously with the previous win, you've got to be one of the favorites for this Clay Cup, right?
Yeah, so my second year in the open class, and I just hope I can do as best as I can.
Oh, I'm sure you will. So when you're racing, you have lots of experience. Do you ever get nervous anymore?
I get nervous, but once I hit the track, it all goes away.
So when you are your formation lap and you are going around and right before the green drops, what's going through your head right at that moment?
I just make a plan, and usually the plan doesn't work out, but I just go where they don't on the start.
You know what is awesome about what I've learned with interviewing drivers is every driver has a different right before the green flag hits. Nobody is the same, and I love that. So a couple more questions, and then we'll get out of your hair, but I'm curious, what are you wanting to grow up racing car? What is your plan for the future? Do you have one?
My goal next year, hopefully, will be in a sprint car at Skagit, either as a Sporty or a 360, and just
awesome.
Continue racing sprint cars, grow my career.
That's awesome. So kind of fun, and we usually ask everybody this, is did you have a racing mentor, somebody you looked up to growing up?
Probably Casey Kane or Kyle Larson. I like Casey Kane because he came from Washington and just followed him.
Raced at Skagit quite a bit. Yeah, awesome. Do you have a pre-race meal or
cheeseburger?
Ooh, he's still young though.
Cheeseburger and Dr. Pepper.
There you go. Do you have when you get done racing? What's the first thing you do when you get out of the car?
Probably look over the car, make sure it didn't hit anything, and talk to my dad about how the car felt.
That's awesome. So we are at. Holy crap! The rain made me forget everything. So we are at the Clay Cup Nationals, Deming, Washington. We are with Clayton at his pit stall. We're super excited to get this race in. I think you've got to be one of the favorites. We're excited to watch you. So
thank you.
Yeah, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Welcome back.
All right, so that was our interview with Clayton, right? Super tough competitor. Like, I didn't know much about him until it was starting to get ready for the interview with him. Just because there's so many drivers and there's so much information you're bombarded by at a constant pace, right? And it's hard to, it really becomes tough to focus in on one driver amongst, like, what, 140?
Yeah. They were hitting some.
130, I can't remember
Yeah.
how many entries were. Oh, Stacy actually wrote them down.
I wrote them down.
So we had in the juniors, night one, right?
Yes.
We had 18 entries for the junior sprints. The 600 restricted, there were 38 entries. The 1200cc was 15 entries. And then the 600 open, there were 58 entries, which is insane. So just by my quick calculation, 130-ish entries for Clay Cup this year. Obviously, there were a few cars that kind of got destroyed and didn't make back. But to the credit of certain crews, there were cars that I didn't think would make it back, but did.
Yes.
So
And unfortunately, that was the case with Clayton.
Clayton was one of that, yeah.
He took a pretty big roll
He
hit
got roughed up.
on night 2.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's okay. The equipment did what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But
So, because we are new to the micro sprint racing world, I have, if you see me at the track, you see me writing down in this little baby right here. And while Stacy's down in the middle of the track taking pictures and doing the whole thing, I am actually writing. I'll have this open, taking notes as the race goes on, because I kind of need to know what to talk about when we come back to studio and kind of re-summarize everything that we're talking about. So I wrote down some impressions on night one that I would love to talk about a little bit.
okay.
We'll start with the drivers' meeting. It was a little bit of a different feel than I originally anticipated. I thought that you would feel the anxiety of the drivers, like, how am I going to do? How's the car going to perform? That kind of anxiety is in the air a lot of times in anticipation of a big race. I felt that more on night 3's driver meeting, the championship, than I did night 1. So drivers meeting, I had the impression that drivers were just waiting, let's just get this process started, because
They wanted to run.
it was a Thursday and Friday, time-ins, heat races, all those things were going to affect main events, and those
The
points
weather.
were going to count for what happens on the third day. So you get the sense that drivers were just like, let's hurry the F up, let's get going.
Well, and let's go back a little bit before that. We had some sprinkles. So when we pulled up to the track, a lot of cars were still pushed into the trailers. It
Yeah.
wasn't a normal prep type scenario.
And when we walked up to Clayton's pit stall, his car was still in the trailer because it was raining at the time. So I remember we ran into Claudia kind of walking around, and she had her cameras. She had like a dry towel or whatever over her cameras trying to protect them. But, yeah, so that was kind of my anticipation that I noticed with the drivers' meeting. It was, not so much stress of, how am I going to do in this race? It was more, let's get the process started just to see where it comes out. Now, here's the other impression that stands out to me the most from night 1 is watching Paul, who, if you don't know who Paul is, he owns Deming Speedway. He would be considered owner, track promoter, grounds crew chief extraordinaire. I don't really know what other titles he would have there, but watching Paul work a dirt track is like watching Picasso paint a painting.
That's a fair statement.
To know what track needs water, how much each corner needs water, when to grate, when not to grate, when to pack, when not to pack. It's insane. He is working so much in between races. I mean, he's my hero. Like, just to watch him is insanity. So, that was my biggest takeaway is watching Paul, especially before any cars hit the track, and then watching him in between races, like in between heats and mains and stuff like that. He is incredible to watch. And I challenge anybody who goes to Deming Speedway, whether you're a first timer, has never been there, or you've been there and been going there for 30 plus years, take time to sit in the stands and watch the track prep. It is a thing of beauty to watch. So shout out to them. And that's more of an art, not a science, right? Mm-hmm. There's no book you can buy on how to prep a dirt oval.
Every track's going to be different. The soil's different. Deming has a river that runs behind it, so a little more river silt in there.
Yeah, and some of the other things impressions I was getting from night one, watching the track officials, and I made note of this in my book. Watching the track officials, especially with a lot of the out of town drivers that came in, it was like watching relatives who catch up like at the family reunion, but they only see that one time a year. Mm-hmm. It was reminiscent of that. It just seemed that's what I was watching with like the Deming track officials and some of the teams. It was kind of interesting. After our interviews are done, I have a lot of time to sit and absorb because, I got to talk about some of this stuff. So I always write my reflections down in the book so I can recall them later. So one quick thing, and I think we'll get to our next interview. But shout out to Skagit Speedway. I know Skagit Speedway and Deming kind of work lockstep into their big races. Mm-hmm. So Skagit shuts down for the Clay Cup to not take away from any fandom at the Clay Cup. And then you get some of the Skagit officials that come to Deming and kind of hang out and do some extra work and things of that nature. I want to shout out them because, they're taking a hit in pay essentially to shut down a nights of racing. But I think it's a classy move. And I kind of just wanted to shout out Skagit Speedway and, the Radine family and all them for what they're doing right now for racing in Skagit County especially, but Skagit and Whatcom County. So yeah, I thought that was really cool.
No, I think it's important that we have tracks that are so close together that they work together.
And it's great because, the big track is, people always refer to the big Skagit, right? And then there's Deming. It gives that chance to really focus on micro sprint and not have it be so competitive. Especially when it comes to the dollar, right? Because it's a finite amount of money you're chasing with fans. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that they shut down to solely have the spotlight on Deming Speedway. But Deming does the same thing in return, though.
Yes.
Because 360 Nationals and the Hornet Nationals, Deming will not be running.
And Dirt Cup.
And it was that way during Dirt Cup to not put the spotlight on, they wanted the spotlight to be on Skagit and not them.
Yeah,
so.
not take away.
Yeah. So, all right. So this next interview that we're going to show, so if you saw our David Key Classic episode, we talked to Mr. Key, who is the son of Dave Key, the number 99, who was the legend in the micro sprint and sprint car world. The Dave Key Classic, I believe it was the first annual Dave Key Classic at Deming Speedway this year. Mm-hmm. That we had an opportunity to talk to him for the Dave Key Classic, and now at Clay Cup, we got a chance to talk to his son Cody, and then of course his son Colton, and then his grandson Kaysen.
Yes.
But next, we're going to have the number 15 of the 600cc open class, and that is the number 15 of Cody Key.
He has an interesting story that he shared
He
with
does.
us.
He wasn't always a sprint car driver.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting take. And when we talked about it, when I go up to a driver, I'll chit-chat with them while Stacy is setting up equipment and doing the thing. And I was intrigued by his story, and I asked, of course, if we could talk about it. He said, hey, yeah, sure. So you're going to want to give a listen because he's an outstanding sprint car driver. You saw it all weekend, but sprint cars wasn't his
thing.
passion that he wanted, even coming from that family. So anyway, there you go. This will be the number 15 Cody interview.
All right, so here we are from the stands, P&W. We are at the Clay Cup Nationals. This is night one, and we are with, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks at home?
I'm Cody Key from Fresno, California.
So you drive
I drive the number 15 RB Motorsports. They're Ohio-based. Met them a while ago. One of my best friends growing up drove for them for a little bit. Then they kind of went a different direction. They got out of the sport, got back in the sport, and it's kind of where I landed.
So how often have you raced here at Deming?
Man. I think my first time ever here was 2011, but I was just helping crew. We brought a car for Michael Facino to run.
Uh-huh.
But I think 2 years after that, maybe the following year, so 12, 13, 14, somewhere in probably 14, 15 area, I would say.
And every year since then?
And every year
Wow,
since then.
that's crazy. Do you have a favorite track that you race at?
Absolutely, and it's this one.
It is?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So let me ask you, we were talking before the interview, and you have a huge lineage in racing, like your father, your grandfather, now your son
Yeah.
is racing. But racing wasn't always the top sport that you loved, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
why don't you tell the folks, they might not know this, so.
Yeah. So I grew up racing and playing hockey for a long time. I think I started playing hockey right around 3, 4, and I started racing right around 3, 4. So did that, growing up, and then I think I was about 14 when I moved away from home for the first time to pursue my hockey career. And to make that step and to do that, I had to take a step away from racing. And I think I didn't get back behind the seat until about I was 17 or 18 years old. I moved away from home, played down in LA for 3 years, and then pursued that. Went to Cheyenne, Wyoming, lived there for a year.
Oh, wow.
So kind of travel around trying to pursue that, and then missed being home for a while. And we actually have a junior team in Fresno, so came back to Fresno and finished my junior career and was able to get back into racing with my pop and my dad. And then a little bit later my little brother started following through, so
Sure.
Kind of got to go back down this route.
So we were talking, so that's awesome. I think a lot of people, when they see race car drivers, they're used to the same story of I raced since I was X, but I love the fact that you did an offshoot and something else was your passion for a bit. So what are you expecting with tonight's racing? It should be pretty good tonight, right?
Yeah, I would have to imagine so. Deming is always puts on great racing, no matter the car count or the weather beforehand. But I feel like I said, Paul's really good with the track. He knows his track really well. The car count's going to help. It's going to blow off. It should get wide and pretty racy. And then with the invert format this weekend, putting the guys that are faster at the beginning of the night towards the back of the feature, and they have to race through it. It always makes for pretty good racing. So.
And this is probably one of the most competitive racing environments that exist, right? I mean, as a fan, that's what it appears to me. I don't know as you as a driver, but
right. Yeah, I would say up here is they're pretty talented, especially with you got Jared Peterson and last year you had Colin Mackey and those types of guys. They're especially when you come to their home track. They're tough to beat, and I feel like you kind of get that everywhere you go. I've been with my team based out of Ohio. We do a lot of Midwest racing, and you go to tracks that maybe you haven't seen or you haven't raced as much as the other guys, and you get back there and you kind of you struggle for a little bit until you learn it, but that obviously that's the beauty of our sport. Going to new places, learning some new tracks, and racing against different drivers, and
it's got to be fun. It's got to be a kick in the pants.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that's probably the biggest thing is just learning who you're racing against. Not necessarily the track so much, but learning who you're around and what their driving style is like, if they like running the top, if they like running the bottom, and to be able to watch and learn from guys, and obviously Jared Peterson here, he's a big one to watch and try to take some notes, and
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for taking the time out with us. I really appreciate it. So
Thank
good
you,
luck
guys.
tonight.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, so that was the interview with the number 15 of the 600 open class, Cody Key. I was shocked about the hockey part. I mean, shocked but pleased, because if you see me, I got a Kraken tattoo, so I'm kind of impartial. Hockey kind of tugs at my heartstrings, so I was super stoked to hear, because he comes from a family with a huge lineage, right?
Definitely.
Everything good?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure, because you're making that face
No, I'm
that
good.
normally throws me aloof. I'm pulling out all the adjectives here for this episode. So,
Yes.
yeah, so it was great to talk with him. And here's the other thing to take away from that interview, right? Mm-hmm. Cody went to the big sprint car racing series. What's wrong?
Just there's comments going.
Okay.
And I can't
So-
reply to that with
So Cody went to the big cars, I'll say, no disrespect to micro sprint racing, but chose to go back to the 600 open class because it was the most competitive. Says something about the 600 open class. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So, one of my other impressions from night one was watching, there's usually two Deming officials that will walk around and inspect cars. There's a certain rudimentary inspection that they do with each team, inspecting a fuel line, making sure bolts are in the right place, making sure crossbars are within a certain distance of the helmet. Eric, shout out to him. He's one of the officials that does it. I talked to him a little bit about that, and I was curious about the kind of stuff that he inspects for. And he wants, he inspects for those things, the bolt, the fuel line, to make sure it's secure to a certain point, certain aspects of that. But he doesn't, and he said something that was it kind of stuck with me, was they do an inspection enough at Deming to make sure that drivers are safe, but it's also so they put back to the teams that they're the ones that are technically responsible for the safety, not the track. And I thought that was a pretty important point of it, because they could take all of the safety inspections and a team can be delinquent on it, but if something happens, the team can turn around and blame the track, which would be awful. So,
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he talked about, we do an inspection enough up until a certain point, but the teams are still responsible primarily for the safety of the drivers and the crews. So,
Which makes 100%.
absolutely. And so that was kind of my takeaway, being a non-technical fan of racing. I wanted to ask him what he was looking for, and he was candid in telling me, so I do appreciate that. Shout out to Eric at the scales. Usually hanging out there with Preston, which is Preston's another good dude that we met at Deming, and we're always kind of buddy with when we're there and kind of chit-chatting and all that. So, yeah. So next, let's go ahead and get into, so we have an interview with Colton, who drives the number 63 in the open class.
Yep.
Had a great finish to Clay Cup this year. But we have an interview with him, and then Kaysen in the number 15 in the junior sprint. And if anybody saw the Dave Key Classic episode, Kaysen was the junior sprint that flipped, got turned back over on its wheels, and finished the race. And I remember asking him a little bit about that during the interview. So here is the interview with Colton and Kaysen Key of David Key Racing.
You good? Yeah. Let me know when we're going. All right. So we're still at David Key Racing. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the folks at home?
So my name is Kaysen. Michael Key, and I started racing in 2024, the junior sprint.
And you drive the number 15, right? Yeah. And was last week was your debut, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
How was that? Was that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how about you, folks at home? What's
I'm Colton Key, the driver of the number 63 Hyper Racing in the Open Division.
so you guys have been, except for you, because last week was your debut, right? How often have you been up to Deming to race here?
I've been coming here since junior sprints, probably since I was 7 years old. So
So how many years is that now?
I'm 16 now, so 11 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Whatever the
A
math
lot
is
of
on that.
experience. No, it's amazing. Like most of the drivers that start young here.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the case across the country. Do you have a favorite track?
This is probably it. To be
Wow,
honest.
I love that.
love the racing here. I love the facility. I love the people here. It's awesome to come up here every year and get to do this.
So I was talking about your wreck you had last week. We put it on the episode. You flipped your car and flipped it back over, and you continued and finished that race, didn't you?
Yeah.
How was that? What was it like being in that car flipping it over?
Actually, it wasn't that bad. I'm usually like, cause
Was it scary or no? It wasn't.
no, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't scared. Nothing like that. I'm
Okay.
kind of
Probably get your mic a little bit closer to your mouth. Okay.
used to it now since
Sure.
I've been racing for about 2 years.
Okay.
So,
What have you been racing before?
before
Before you raced junior sprints, have you raced anything before junior
no.
sprints? No, just junior sprints.
Yep.
Okay. And it wasn't scary at all, kind of like a roller
I
coaster.
didn't do hockey though. I did hockey.
So your dad did hockey too, right? Yeah, that's so racing being new. How excited are you to race in the Clay Cup tonight?
I'm actually really excited since it's my first year up here.
Yeah.
I usually just watched, see what they were kind of doing.
Mhm.
And then I started back then, 2024, and now I'm here.
Okay. So let me ask you, so racing, you have experience, and I ask this question to every race car driver I interview that's been behind the wheel for a bit. You ever get nervous anymore?
Oh yeah, nervous for every race.
Really?
Yeah,
When
weekly
does
show.
the butterflies start? Because you look pretty calm right now.
No, usually drivers meetings when they kick in.
Okay.
Then you get on the track for hot laps, get on the throttle, and they're gone.
So when you're formation lap and it's right before it's going to go green, what goes through your head?
Just how to execute that start. You know, just you got to pick them off early for sure. Here,
Sure.
straightaways and narrow, racing's tight. Just got to get going early.
And what about you? What do you think about when the flag is about to go green?
I'm actually really nervous as well because I don't know if I'm going to flip.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm going to finish. I don't know if I'm going to spin out. I don't know any of that. So,
Oh, but the fact that you take that fear on is something to be said. I love that. So when you're done racing, what's the first thing that you go to snack-wise when you come out of the car? What's your go-to after a race?
Probably an Uncrustable.
Oh,
Quick, easy.
wow. Yeah, I like that. What about you?
I really probably the walking taco.
It's one of my favorites. I love that. All right, so you heard it here. All right, so night one, Clay Cup Nationals, number 63 and the number 15. You're going to want to check them out.
Okay.
Are we back?
We're back.
All right, so that was our interview with Colton and Kaysen. Colton, the number 63 in the open class, and of course, Kaysen, number 15 in the junior sprints. Okay, so where are we going next? Stacy's going to keep me on track for the rest of this episode because all my notes are almost gone. So, what are we talking about?
So let's kind of recap the junior sprints for night one because they're the only ones that got a main in and got
There,
a
yeah.
true point system.
So Thursday ended unexpectedly. We'll talk about that at the end of the episode. But the junior sprints were the only ones to get an A main in. Fast time of the junior sprints. Isn't that what this is?
Yep.
So Luke Coates. Luke drives the number 54, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He got fast time Thursday. So, and then, of course, the A-Main, top three finishers for the junior sprints. We had Coates in the 54, right?
Yep.
We had Cole in the 41. And then Lucas Fisher in the 73.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So that was Friday's A main finishers for the junior sprints. Is that correct?
Yeah, you have my notes on that. So
Yeah. All right. So unfortunately, as soon as the A main finished, the skies opened up, and
it wasn't just a little rain.
it wasn't. It really started downpouring.
It was lightning too.
Yeah, and so we were down in the center of the track, and Stacy was doing her thing, and I'm taking notes, and I see a flash, and it looked like it was somebody with a flash in the crowd, and I kind of look up to the front stretch crowd, and I'm trying to pick out who had the camera with the huge flash, because it was bright enough to get my attention when I'm in the middle, like I'm down in the center of the track when the race is going on around us. And all of a sudden I saw the flash again, but I saw the lightning strike go from cloud to cloud. And I thought, oh crap, lightning is, and then of course fans are in metal bleachers, right?
Yes.
And it was like, oh, and all of a sudden immediately the yellow flag came out. Track officials are ordering all the cars off the track. I think weren't the like 600s on the track at the time, because the juniors had finished. There was another round of cars on the track, and I can't remember if it was hot laps or whatever. But as soon as the lightning strike hit and the rain started,
They were 600s.
the yellow.
I'm trying to think about, like, I can picture the cars down by the scales because they parked them off.
They were all in like where the work area. So if you go to Deming Speedway, the track work area is technically over by where the scales are. And the scales are for when the cars come off their main event race or after qualifying or whatever, make sure they make a certain weight. That's why they do that. So,
And I know, like, Sage was in line to go out.
yeah, he was going to start second in that main.
So it's probably, was a 600 restricted Bs
Yeah.
would be my
Because he
guess.
was set to be starting second in the A main, I believe. And the rain started. And, of course, we sat in the rain kind of under the shelter for, 15, 20 minutes when they decided to call the race. And that was disappointing. There were a lot of disappointed racers, a lot of disappointed teams. It was kind of a wash for me because there's so much going on around you. The note-taking kind of ended in the kind of paying attention, trying to absorb the moment. I think it was like the biggest. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree with that.
Stacy ripped the hat off my head, and she took the camera when we were kind of hunkered under shelter and decided to walk around and try to take photos. Why she did that, I have no clue.
I got some interesting photos I think we'll just end up with like a photo slideshow, kind of a recap in photographs over the 3 nights put together.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
But to see like cars draped in the tents or with like tarps over them and then people working on them, because obviously this
Pop-up
was
tents everywhere.
night one, cars getting pushed into trailers.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on in the pits because they still had to be working on their cars.
But because we had rain out for night one, Thursday, let's go ahead and talk about some of the other classes that didn't get a chance to finish.
Yes.
So fast time in the 600 restricted. It looks like we had Ryan Cannon, which we have an interview with him in part 3, episode or
Yep.
day 3. Are we calling them day 3s or part 3s?
I think we just call them day 3s.
Okay, so Clay Cup day 3.
Yep. Episode 8, day 3.
Episode 8, day 3, yes. So Ryan Cannon was in the 600 restricted, and then it was Ethan McFarland in the 600 restricted.
Yep.
Those were the 2 fast times.
Yep, they did 2 groups.
And then the 1200 was Nate Vaughn, 1200 cc. And then, of course, in the 600 open, fast time was Cody Key.
Cody Key.
In the number 15.
He was fast.
Yeah. And then Dalton would be the other 600 open driver. Well, I don't even know what his number was, but anyway. That was pretty much the end of
Yeah. So we got home. They kind of reshuffled how they were going to do points.
Yeah, they had to throw it together on the fly. And we thought, everybody at the track at the time when the race was called thought that the day one was going to be a wash. So the only thing that would have mattered was Friday. There would be no residual from Thursday that would count. And that was not the case. And that leads to a super interesting day two, which I think we get into after this, right?
Well, we need to wrap up day one.
What did we do on?
We have another interview.
Was that day one or day two?
Day one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You had a thing to do with that, didn't you?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
What happened?
So-
What happened? Tell the folks at home what happened.
What happened was
Yeah.
Jimmy put me in front of the camera.
Oh, snap.
So to finish our drivers meetings interviews for
That's
day
right.
one,
I said it. Oh, snap.
we went to visit
Mr. Sargent. I'm not even going to call him by his first name. He deserves excellence.
number
and he
49, Kaysen.
He is the junior sprint royalty at Deming Speedway. And we'll get into why he is royalty, but I will never refer to him by his first name ever again. It will be I'm going to wear the t-shirt that says Mr. Sargent right there.
So
that
we
kid
did
is a stud.
a little interview with him. And then we were going to play that.
And I'm behind the camera. Stacy's in front.
Jimmy's behind the camera, so a little different angle.
All right, so, when we come back, we will talk briefly about day one, Mr. Sargent's, and that'll be you, and then we will end our episode 8, day one, and we will begin episode 8, day dose, right? All right.
Okay. We're here with Kaysen. We're at Clay Cup. I almost said Dirt Cup. Holy moly. We're at Clay Cup. So tell us a little about yourself.
I started racing when I was 4.5, and I started up in that Elma track, and I won there, and then I got second on the second night, and the second time I went. But yeah, that was really fun to get my first races in. And after that, we went down to Monroe to go to that little quarter midget track there, and we moved our way up to the upper classes.
Yeah.
We went from novice, junior Honda, junior Animal, and junior 160, and then we moved up to the junior stuff, and that's where we're here right now.
So tell us about your crew. Who helps you with your car?
Mom, Dad, Grandma and Grandpa, G-Pa and G-Ma. Grandma Auto Repair is my main one.
Okay.
Chaz, Shield Suits, Fast Forward Media, Skagit Swipe Push Truck.
A lot of people's behind you, right?
Yeah, a lot.
That's a lot, and a lot to remember. So I'm impressed. Okay, couple things. So we just have a few questions, and we know it's busy race day for you.
Yeah.
But do you get nervous when you get behind the wheel?
Out of the car, yeah, but when I start get strapped in, I just lose all my nervous, whatever you want to call it, lose all my nervous feeling. But yeah, it's like a snap, and then you're in focus mode after you buckle in.
Yeah.
So
You have a
Yeah.
pretty big social media. Is it more exciting to do social media or to drive your ar?
drive my car.
Drive your car. Okay. What does mom and dad tell you before you get on the track? Do they is there one thing they tell you every time?
Hit my marks, and it's not all about winning, it's having fun.
Exactly. I love that. Do you believe that? That's about having fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite post-race snack? When you come back to the pits, what do you grab?
I'll grab probably like some pizza if that's here. But and I would also grab probably a bag of chips and then drink some sips of water.
Yeah? Okay. One last question that I have for you. It's for you to finish the sentence. Racing is
Really fun and cool and a lot of other things.
other things. So I know. This is a pretty cool place, right?
Yeah.
Cool track.
Yeah.
You got lots of community around you, lots of friends I see you running around with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Well, hey, thank you for hanging out with us for a few. We wish
Yeah.
you the best of luck through Clay Cup.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
We're back.
We're back.
As Stacy was saying, we're back.
So, Kaysen. I can't call Mr. Sargent. That just seems
I
wrong.
have to. Mr. Sargent from this point forward.
Kaysen. So he started coming across my TikTok feeds. And with his little interviews and his pre-race stuff that he does. And I was like, I'm going to reach out. He's one that we want to talk to. And so he is a cool kid. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. You talk about my multiple faces.
Well, but the problem was it was making a crosshair right on your forehead. And so I don't believe in that. So I'm eliminating the crosshair.
So Kaysen, definitely a cool kid, a cool family. I really got to like his parents, his grandpa
Man, yeah.
that's hanging around with him.
Yeah, they're incredible.
So they were ones that were very welcoming to us.
Yeah.
And I
So
don't want to
much-
give away a lot of what happened throughout the week with Kaysen.
Kaysen's pretty. I did it. I said I would be. I'm sorry, Mr. Sargent. I referred to you by your first name, and I should not be doing that. I owe you way more respect than that, Mr. Sargent. He is legit. Just watching, he's a kid. He is a little kid, but when he puts his race suit on and gets behind the wheel, you fast forget how little of a kid he is. He drives like he's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
He drives like he's making $10 million every race. He's hitting every line. He's sticking everything. We're going to get into a little bit of the nuances of racing in night 2, which some people are not going to like what I have to say, and some people are going to agree and be happy about it. But, there's some nuances we need to discuss. But watching Mr. Sargent run in the number 49 is incredible.
Yeah.
He transcends his age, and his parents, his family.
The sportsmanship that kid has.
It's incredible. I was blown away by that. And that's the one thing, and we'll kind of wrap up night 1 with this, but we tend to forget that a lot of times at Deming Speedway, those are kids behind the wheel.
100%.
And they're doing very adult things with a race car that some of us don't have the guts as middle-aged adults have the guts to do. But an 8, 9, 10-year-old is doing what some of us are afraid to do or don't have the courage to do. And we tend to forget that. And it is crazy to watch a racer like Mr. Sargent or a Sage operate.
Or Kaysen from Davy Keys Racing.
Yeah, just to operate the way
Yeah.
they do, and to realize that they're doing very adult things in a very childlike body, and it's crazy to see, and it's insane to watch.
And the interesting thing is when we're in the pits before the race, they're on their four-wheelers, they're on their little mini dirt bikes, whatever you want to call
They're
them.
very much being a kid.
Their kids are running around. Their parents are hanging out with the cars. For the most part, the kids help with their cars, but a lot of the times it's the dads
Right.
kind of being the crew chief, and the kids are running around,
A lot of times that is. I mean,
especially at that age.
we talk with Mr. Sargent's mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was very much like, yeah, we have to let him also be a kid, and
Yeah.
I get that, and applaud their balance. Their balance seems to work. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is going to wrap up episode 8, night number uno.
Yep.
Yes, for this episode, I pulled out my multilingual ability. You won't see it much. I can sometimes go between Spanish and French, just depending. So just be aware of that. Little preview of night 2. We interview a chick that is, along with McKenna that we interviewed, she is a force of nature that had to have overcome some pretty extreme circumstances to get to where she is as a race car driver, and I respect that. So we talked to, well, I'm not going to give away it's one of the better racing names out there. Like, I think we interviewed in night 2,
The cool names.
the cool names of
Deming.
Deming, as well as we had a surprise interview with one of the voices of Deming. So
Yeah.
anyway, that is going to do it for episode 8, night 1. I want to thank everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. We are From the Stands. We are a dirt track racing podcast. We focus on tracks specifically from Skagit, Deming Speedway. But when you watch us and see us and interact with us, we're always a believer of this kind of mission statement. Every lap has a story, and every fan has a seat with us. We will be back in a little bit with episode 8, night number 2 of Clay Cup Nationals at Deming
Thanks so much for
Speedway.
watching our latest creation, From the Stands PNW. So you're probably wondering who's responsible for creating this podcast. Well, that would be Jimmy and Stacy. Who is the guy in front of the microphone all the time? Well, that would be Jimmy. Who's producing our episodes? Well, that will be Jimmy and Stacy. Who am I talking to on the social media side, and who's creating all that wonderful social media? Well, that would be Stacy. A special thanks goes out to Top Shelf Galaxy Productions, and of course, a special shout out to Ice by Stacy Media for all the great graphics and animations. So please like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when our latest hits the airwaves. You can find us across all social media platforms at From the Stands PNW. Once again, thank you so much for watching.